We are constantly at war with the person we are trying to become. It's like this vicious tug of war where there's a version of you that wants the best possible outcome and it's in alignment with that, right? And just the actions are coming from a much higher place. It's pushing you to do more, it's pushing you to be better. And that version of you, you can hear it. Once you start to listen to it a little bit, it grows bigger, right? It's like the wolf. When you feed that wolf, it grows and gets bigger. But there's also this past version of you. There's also this version of you that wants to be comfortable, wants to be complacent, wants to be completely and utterly left alone and comfortable and just sit down and watch Netflix and watch YouTube and do the bare minimum and think that you're working. And it's this constant tug of war. The great thing to know is that one of them will get louder than the other over time. If you really lean in and start to feed the wolf that is your higher self, that is the better version of you, then it will start to show up more in your daily thought patterns and also as part of your mental models. Okay. So in this video, I want to break down really quickly how to create a new reality. This is going to be a quick video. We're not going to go super in depth here, but I want to share this one idea with you so you can really kickstart your day or kickstart tomorrow with this thought in mind. So at every given time, we have a single decision to make, which is, do I want to step into a new reality or do I want to stay exactly where I am? And this comes down to every single possible decision that you can make on a day-to-day basis. When we think about this from a high-level perspective, we make so many decisions on a day-to-day basis. It's not even funny, right? So it's like we're taking up a lot of our mental energy by just making decisions overall. So what we really need to do is become aware of all of these little decisions that we're making throughout the day and how we can use those to step into a new reality. Because when we're saying stepping into a new reality, we're stepping into a new identity. So a version of us that it kind of exists, but it doesn't exist fully because we haven't fully embodied it. Because really, when we're going through this shift in identity, right, we're going from an old version of ourselves to a new version of ourselves. There's going to be a mixture between the two at some point, and that's going to be constantly evolving until you create this new form that will then become the old form, and then you start to change again because we're ever evolving. So knowing this, we have the power to shift into that identity at any given point in life. Okay, I'll give you a personal example. When I was starting my business and I was trying to, make money online, I was trying to get things off the ground. I was living with my parents. I hadn't lived at home for 6 years, but I was really, just trying to get things off the ground, save some money, and make things happen. And I was miserable a lot of the time, but I was really understanding a lot of the ideas that I'm sharing with you here on this channel, and I was trying to comprehend them as best I possibly could. And I started to understand that I do have the power to make decisions. That's what's in my control. And if I focus on what I can control, like the Stoics talk about, then I have more power over my reality and the creation of that. So the way I was thinking about it was, what decisions can I make on a day-to-day basis, and inevitably creating your identity. Okay, because the more we take those actions, the more we lean in that direction, the more we actually become that person. Okay, so if we take a step back for a second, I was in my parents' house, I was stuck, and I was doing the daily inputs, and I was following what these courses and YouTube videos and all these books were telling me. I was studying like a madman, and I was just trying to make things happen. But the problem was complacency, comfort, fear, doubt always seemed to creep in, where I would take some action just to convince myself that I was moving forward, but not really taking action. In these beginning stages, I was doing a lot of journaling. And I think in the first year of me trying to get things off the ground, I had never journaled before. And in that year, I filled I think it was maybe 4 or 5 journals, which is a lot of pages, a lot of writing. I was documenting everything. And as I was writing, I was doing some reflecting. And I was realizing that the actions that I was taking were actually keeping me in an old identity. I was convincing myself that I was doing better than I actually was. And this was kind of a hard pill to swallow, and I had to face some things like, you're afraid of doing this and you know it. And let's be real, you're doubtful that you can even accomplish this thing, so you're actually not taking the actions you need to take, but you're convincing yourself that you're actually doing what you need to do. Coaching myself through the process. Because before this point, I would wake up and I would meditate and I would go to work and I would do the things I think I'm supposed to be doing, and I would sit down and I would learn and I would study the same things that I learned and studied the day before, thinking that I needed to learn more and more and more and more, when in reality I was just productively procrastinating on the things that I needed to do to actually make shit happen. And this over time just became painful because I felt like I was working and doing 16-hour days, but not moving forward. Now, of course, any goal that we're trying to achieve, there's a delay period, but there comes a time where you have to bite the bullet. And I had to realize that I had to step up overall. So really the decision I came to at that time was, how can I step into a new identity and change these current habits and behaviors and thought patterns by building these mental models and making decisions based on what the superior version of me would do. And when I started to develop that mind, it was a scary place to be, don't get me wrong, because I was like, okay, well, I'm probably going to have to do some things that are, are not comfortable to me. but that was the things I needed to do. And as I started to do that, and as I started to set the intention to become that person and to really actually go ahead and, move in that direction. And my goals in those beginning stages was to make 10K a month and travel the world. That's all I really wanted to do. And travel for me came first because I wanted to get out of my current environment, because I really love the idea of traveling and working online. It was like the big goal for me. So as I set the intention, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to make the move. I'm going to have to trust that this whole process is going to work out all by itself. That's where I actually detached from being in control, which is a very, very powerful thing, the power of detachment. Okay. So I set the intention, I detached from the outcome, and then I came across this opportunity to go to Lisbon. So the goal for me was to create my reality of moving to a hot country. Like, that country for me was Lisbon. It was the one that was in my mind. It was one of the biggest digital nomad cities, and I thought it was a good place to start. So leading up to that, I was absolutely terrified. But I had to just make the decision based on the person I wanted to become, not the person I currently was. Because the person I currently was would have just stayed at home, would have just played it safe, would have just waited till the perfect time, which does not exist, by the way, and it instead would have just delayed the whole process. So I had to make the decision to be like, if I really want this, and I've really set this intention, and I am serious about becoming this new version of myself, I got to take the leap. I got to see what happens. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck in this scenario for the rest of my life. And I went and I booked the flight. I took the action. I didn't have a lot of money. I had no money in my bank account going over there. It was a very, very irresponsible, probably thing to do, right? A lot of people would have advised against it. But sometimes you have to do the illogical thing to really get movement on where you're trying to get to. Because what this taught me was to develop courage within myself and to trust myself and have enough confidence within myself that I can figure it out. Because since that day, I've been traveling the world. I've visited 8 countries. I've lived in 5. I'm over in Vietnam at the moment, just back from a trip from Tokyo. And I've been traveling ever since that moment. And I've grew my business. I've made, other 6-7 figure entrepreneurs. I've met some incredible people. I've traveled to beautiful beaches and cities and all these different things. And that all came from just taking that leap, stepping into that new version of myself. So the lesson for reading this video is to create a new reality by making decisions based on that superior self, that superior version of you that knows the best thing to do. Because that version of you, that version of us, has faith in the universe, has faith in God, has faith in whatever it is that you believe in, that you will figure it out. And I know this might be a kind of abstract, scary thing to think about, but when you take that leap of faith, things start to unfold before you. And what I've noticed from chatting to these different people who are very successful is that they all have done these same things. There's so many times in our life where we have the opportunity to play it safe, and we have the opportunity to go bigger and to trust ourselves and to trust the process and to take that leap of faith. And there's so many times where it's easy to play small, and it's easy to think of the comfortable thing to do, or the thing that, is going to keep us safe, and it's probably the best thing to do in terms of logic. But sometimes it's the illogical things that we must do to be able to create the new life that we want to create. It's just something that you can do today. It's just to build in the mental model, the question in your mind: how can I step into a new version of myself today? And this could be as small as doing an extra rep in the gym. This could be as small as sending an extra couple of messages in your outreach. This could be as simple as creating that video and posting it, even if you're scared to do it and you've never done it before. Take that leap of faith. Bet on yourself. Have trust and the confidence within yourself that you will figure it out. And when you look back in hindsight, there's no better feeling in the world than building that trust within yourself. Because I'm telling you, but you have the belief and the confidence within yourself that you can do these things, nothing can stop you. So I want to leave you with that message today. Drop a like below, drop your thoughts, your comments. I want to hear what you have to say about this. Was this helpful in any way? It gives me a good indication as to make more videos like this. I'm always trying to learn from you just as much as you're trying to learn from me. So thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video.